This conference will now be recorded.
Welcome everyone to our first meeting of the 2021-2022 season. My name is Erin Kramer and I'm the girls director. And Chris, you can introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Chris Gerke. I am the boys director.
And we have a slide presentation for those of you who are in attendance, and we're also recording this to post it on our YouTube channel as well. We will be downloading the slides as PDF and emailing them out to all of the boys and girls reps in our league. And this is something that we'll do each month throughout the preseason and during the season to keep all of you up to date on what we feel is what you need to be doing throughout the season, and if you need any help or assistance or have questions, we have this meeting once a month.
Okay. We do highly recommend that you pass this information on to people within your organization, even down to the parent level, so everybody's kind of in the loop of what's taking place throughout the league, anything new. We do. They get YouTube links, any type of link to the website. Please feel free to pass on the information to other people within your club and get that information out there. So some of the topics that we're going to tackle here for our November meeting. First, we're going to do a quick Sports Engine representative Q&A. We got Randy Wise with us here this evening for the first part, who's going to be able to answer some questions. I know there are a lot of programs that migrated over to Sports Engine this year. And so if you have anything that has come up that you're experiencing, or if you don't have Sports Engine and you want to learn a little bit more about it, we can connect you here so that Randy can set up follow-up calls, discussions, whatever need be. The next thing we want to talk about are the open commissioners positions. Both the boys and the girls programs have open commissioner positions, so we'd like to get recruiting and filling those positions here as soon as possible. They play a key part in helping organize, set the structure, provide documentation for the season. So I'd like to get your help to send out, whether it's in your club or people that you know that may be interested in filling those spots. And we sure could appreciate your help getting the word out. The next thing we'll touch on is the recruitment of officials, something that takes place every year that we never seem to have quite enough of. Then we'll touch on rule changes for the season to share with coaches. Now, we're not going to go into a rules discussion and talk about changes for the season. We're actually going to focus on where you'll be able to find the information regarding the rule changes and rule books for the season. The rules meetings for both the boys and the girls will be scheduled at a later date in January. That will focus on the specifics of what rules have changed over the season, which ones we want to call out emphasis on, and wrap that up with any links associated with that and how to acquire those rule books. From there, we're just going to talk about how to prepare for the scheduling meeting. That's a yearly event that everybody needs to get ready for, who's going to be a part of the scheduling process. We have a lot of new people that could really benefit from that. We'll discuss coaching certification requirements and training offered in the area. Now, this year, there's been some significant changes to what's been required, so that's important information. Determining playing levels, team evaluations, that's something that comes up every year that we need to focus on. Well, how do I register my team in the right division? And we do have tools available to you to help assist you with trying to get that team in the right spot. Then we'll talk about preparing for team registration, and then wrap it up with submitting age eligibility petitions, some of the information associated with that, and then just some of the action items and resources that are available to you here at this point in time. So with that, we can move on to, I'd actually like to introduce Randy Wise. He's with Sports Engine. We've provided his contact information here you can reach out to him after the Q&A for today. But with that, I'll throw it to you, Randy.
All right. Thank you, Chris. Can you guys hear me okay there? Just want to make sure my voice is coming through loud and clear.
Yes, sure. All right.
First off, I'd like to thank you guys for taking the time giving me a few minutes here to speak to the members of NCJLA. Um, First and foremost, as you can see, actually, there we go. As you can see, my information is on the screen. So if there's something that I did not get to, or if there's a question that you'd like to ask, whether you'd like to ask me directly or whether you'd like to set up some time with me, feel free to jot that information down and reach out to me directly. I'm happy to help in any way that I can. Um, that information is great for people who have not yet come on to Sports Engine, who might be interested or might have some questions about uh, the Sports Engine system, and also how it's going to connect with NCJLA this year. Um, and for people who have already signed on to Sports Engine, if there are any questions or anything that have come up along your onboarding process where you'd like to discuss it further, I'm happy to set up some time and discuss it directly with you. Um, Really, what I'd like to do more than anything, for some of the people who are on the phone call right now, I know we do have some people who have migrated over to Sports Engine from the League Athletic platform that appear to be on the call right now. I'm going to open it up if you guys have any questions, anything that you feel needs to be discussed, or anything that you're having um, issues with, or any comments you'd like to make. I'm happy to, kind of address them here. I'd love to believe that silence means that we're all doing such a great job. um, but I will kind of let you know if there aren't any questions. I'll give you kind of a preview of what's coming up for the NCJLA programs that have migrated over. We are currently in the process of affiliating all of the programs that have currently signed over and connecting them with the main NCJLA site. That has not happened as of yet, but should be happening in the very near future. Um, Meaning as early as tomorrow, you might see some changes in your back end where you see an extra tab in your HQ area that's labeled as NCJLA. Um, we will be providing some videos for NCJLA that walk you through things like um, submitting your rosters to the NCJLA once you've created your teams and gone through registration, obviously. Um, Also, if you have not opened up registration, I have worked with Laura to create essentially um, a template, if you will, that can be used for registration. If rather than going through and creating your own registration, you'd like to just use the template, please feel free to reach out to me and I can make sure that template registration actually gets placed onto your website. And I'm more than happy to work with you in making any tweaks that you'd like to the registration itself. Um, Also to come, and really in the interest of trying to make things easier and more streamlined, we are going to be providing some other tutorial videos for tools that directly apply to NCJLA member orgs. As I mentioned, the idea of submitting teams, but also we're also going to be working on tutorial videos for once teams are placed together, entering schedules on the NCJLA website for for your for your league teams. And on that, I'm going to give one last chance to open it up for questions, comments, anything that Anybody would like to mention?
Going once.
Yeah, that's all right. I'll take it. I'll take it. Um, well, Aaron and Chris, thank you guys for inviting me and giving me the time here. Uh, Again, my contact information right on the screen there, so please jot it down if there are any questions, or if anybody in your organization has any questions that they'd like to ask. Please feel free to pass my information on to them, and I'm happy to help here.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Yeah.
I know on behalf of the NCJLA, we're really excited about moving forward with this platform, and we see a lot of good potential out of it. So thank you for your time tonight.
Thank you guys for having me. Certainly appreciate it.
Great.
So,
All right. Moving right along.
let's
Okay.
all right. This
So
one's
we've got some openings this year. So as you can see here, we've listed the current openings for the girls division. We got the 14U commissioner that we're looking for, as well as a high school commissioner. And for the boys division, we're looking for an 8U, 10U, a 12U, and potentially a high school commissioner. So if you or you know of anybody who may be interested in stepping into one of those roles, please reach out to Aaron or myself, and we would love to talk to them and see if we could make things work. So please get the word out, and we do really would appreciate you helping assist us get these positions filled for this season as soon as possible.
I was just going to chime in, Chris, to open up the floor. Does anyone have any questions about what a commissioner does? If they're interested to find out right now, you could also email us if you would like to have a discussion about what the roles entail. So the next topic we're going to talk about is recruiting officials, and we just came up with this nice little cute slide to give you some quick ideas of what we recommend where you would advertise. So banners, signs, flyers on top of obviously digital flyers. It's really important that you get the word out in your community, and that's because you want to bring these officials in right down where you're having your home games, and so they don't have to drive very far in the busy Bay Area. It's really convenient when you have someone that lives close by. So visibility is really important, and if you make yard signs or banners to make them without necessarily dates or times, just very generic, that's my best recommendation. We also, go ahead, Chris.
Sure. We also have free official recruiting flyers too, so that you can use to get the word out and to bring people in. What you're looking at currently there is a couple different flyers with the women's NCWLO organization, which manages the officiating for the women's side of lacrosse. It's important to get officials in every year, and we want to make sure that it's a part of the club requirements to recruit and bring in officials and to have them be a part of your membership process with the NCGLA. So again, we need to have officials to be able to officiate these games, and every year we seem to have a shortage. So we do highly recommend that you hit the websites, pull the resources. There's customization that can be done. We'll pass it on to the next slide, that you can localize and be very targeted in terms of who you're reaching out to, what community you're reaching out to try and bring some interest in officiating. And a person does not have to be a former lacrosse player in order to officiate. Lauren, if you want to, I'm sorry, Aaron, if you want to expand on this one.
Yeah, this one just has that kind of blank white box. You can put your club logo in there with your club name that maybe says something about your area. A lot of clubs have the name of your town affiliated with it, so it can be personalized pretty easily. So we send this to you as a digital flyer with just a blank box that you can add whatever you want to it. Um, so I really think the new flyers are pretty cool, and they have those QR codes that send you to a Google form to fill out information of your interest level, or send it to people that you know to fill out, so we can get in touch, so they can get back in touch with you to give them the details of how to become an official.
Okay, so rules. There's a lot to talk about when it comes to rules, but this isn't the forum to do it. So, but what we are doing here is showing you that the links that we're using with the NFHS and the US Lacrosse. The big change this year is that there won't be any NCJLA modifications for the rules. So there have been in previous years. This year, it's been decided not to. So we're going to use the rules that are provided to us by the NFHS and US Lacrosse. You can go to each one of the websites. We learned just today that the NFHS rule book is ready to go for both the boys and the girls, and you can buy the physical copy right now. That's posted on the NFHS website, so you can go through and you can get that order in. It's not up on Amazon yet, but it often is delivered there shortly thereafter. So if you prefer to purchase it through Amazon, that's most likely going to be an option here in the near future. We do want to highly recommend that you get your coaches to attend the NFHS rules interpretation meeting, which is going to take place in January of 2022. If not, all your coaches, at least somebody who's going to be there to kind of spearhead the effort to engage with the officiating, the officials that are going to be there presenting, going over the rule changes for the year, and then any points of emphasis. So it's imperative that at least one person from the organization attends these meetings to be able to pass on the information to the coaching staff, to the organization. Aaron and I have seen plenty of conflict on the field that has resulted in the fact that the coaches and the officials were not on the same page with respect to the rules. And when everybody's on the same page, it tends to remove a lot of that conflict that occurs throughout the season. So please get in front of that. Let your coaches know that this stuff, it's either available now and the meeting is coming up in the future. We highly, highly recommend at least one person from every organization attend.
I would like to add something to this slide for the girls' side. We will not be having modifications to USA Lacrosse rules, but we will be using the opportunity to slightly modify, if needed, based on our officials' availability for our 14B with transitional checking versus modified checking, so that the girls' rules committee is still in the process of making that final decision. And the second one would be for the rule for the girls' eyewear. We're going to be following the NFHS rule instead of the USAL rule for the SEI stamp requirement. So those are pretty minor, but we'll have more information prior to the beginning of the season for everybody with those based off of the finalization of the rules sheets after the rules committee meets. Okay. So the scheduling appendix for both the boys and the girls are published every year that helps schedulers schedule their games, but also helps the club admins figure out how long they need to book their fields for home games, and also what to expect, what to send out to the parents, and what to expect to schedule those games. So we have what we call schedule blocks. So they're different for each division. Some are the same, but there's differences between the divisions for the scheduling blocks. So the girls' high school needs an hour and 30 minutes of time to schedule their games, and so do the 14U. The 12U needs an hour and 15 minutes, 10U needs 1 hour, and 8U only needs 45 minutes. For the boys' side, the high school division needs an extra 10 minutes, so an hour and 40 minutes of block time for their games. And then 14U is 14 and 12U are 1:30, 10U 1 hour, 8U 45 minutes. The blackout dates are important for your schedulers to know about so that they do not schedule any games on those dates. The other part would be the girls have play days for the CIF division, for the high school divisions, for training officials, and there will be a few more blackout dates that we'll be sending your way to make sure that you know not to schedule or try to attempt to schedule games for girls' games that need officials on those dates, because the officials will all be busy officiating CIF high school scrimmages. The season play days for the NCJLA are listed here as well. So the Sunday, the 27th, for the 14U girls and 12U girls. And then for the boys, it would be the Saturday for high school and 14U. For 12U, it's the 28th of February. And is that correct, Chris?
I thought so. Looking at I can go back and confirm the.
Yeah, I have the 26th, 27th, and 28th would be Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But for sure, the 10U and the 8U are, oh yeah, I see, that's the season open date. The 10U and 8U play day for both boys and girls are on March 12th. The season open dates are listed here as well. You can schedule games prior to the season open dates, but not for season count games. And also it would be based on official availability. So scrimmages are okay, but the official open date of the season are listed here. Also, you are not required to play on opening weekends. You can delay the start to meet your local needs for your club, your players who are playing winter sports. And during the scheduling meetings, you should indicate when you will start playing games. That would be helpful for everyone.
Okay, end of season. So it's important to note that teams must RSVP by April 30th. The minimum criteria in previous seasons there was minimum criteria established, and it's been waived for 2022. So no minimum game counts, but 10 games is highly recommended. We do want to emphasize that. Let me just finish with this. B and youth teams will be ranked in flighted tournaments according to sports engine rankings. So all teams will get flighted tournaments, and most RSVP. Make sure that you're checking the master calendar for the dates, and including columns in B, C, and D. So another thing about our end of season events is that they're sanctioned, that they go toward youth nationals. So if that's something that your program/teams are interested in, that is a qualifying end of season event. So and this information is pulled from the ops guide. So if you wanted to go in and look at this yourself offline in the ops guide, this information is provided there. So, and we got our A and high school teams will be ranked via the NCJLA RPI formula, and that's consistent from year to year. And they're also, for that, there's a 10 game minimum. So you see teams may also petition their NCJLA age level commissioner for adjustments to their ranking if they feel like they're ranked too highly. So we just want to make sure that we're doing an accurate job as much as possible with the team rankings to make sure we're having competitive games and that our end of season events are set up in a way that's productive and competitive for everyone. Okay.
Sorry about that, guys. One of our big jobs of the year is to help you and your schedulers prepare for the scheduling meeting. So we have a few slides about scheduling because it's super important, and for new schedulers it can be quite complicated at first, and it's just a little bit of a learning process to get through. So we like to give you some really strong pointers and advice. So rent your home fields now if you can. So the word now is not on there, but it should be. Rent your home fields now. Start doing that now if you can. Decide how many games each of your teams want to play, home games, away games. Just make these decisions early. How many games do you want to host? How many games do you want to travel? And per each age division. So maybe you might want to travel a little bit more for your 14Us and above, and maybe a little bit less for your 10Us and 8Us. Just think about where you want to go, how far you want to go, and those kinds of decisions are really important to start talking about now. Definitely, you need to attend, someone from your club, the online schedulers training, and you will see in the next slide we have multiple opportunities for that. The other big step and big task is for new clubs or for clubs that need a new system is to build a calendar or a spreadsheet to help you keep track of your club schedule. So you can start building it out now, and then when you get to scheduling meeting, it'll be so much easier for you to just fill it in and try to get the games that you want to get.
I do want to reiterate a point that please connect with your coaches and get their feedback on ideally how many games they want to target and when. Getting in front of that, there are some coaches that say, I just want 10 games. There may be some coaches that say, I want 16. And, oh, by the way, I'm not available this weekend or that weekend. You get that information early, you start populating your schedule. That way you can meet the needs and the requirements that those coaches have. But definitely reach out to them as soon as you can to start creating that calendar. Okay, so scheduling meeting training sessions. So we've got 3 that are listed here on the board with respect to December 6th, 7th, and the 10th. We have an evening one, we have got a mid-afternoon one, and then a morning one to try and accommodate different people's schedules. So each of them are set up for an hour apiece. So it's important to at least get to one of those training sessions. There's a lot of good information. And then again, we recommend whatever you learn from that meeting, taking it back to your club and providing it to those other individuals that are going to be part of the training process or the scheduling process. So we do have some club host dates for games due by January 13th through the 16th. Again, another reason why you want to get in and start reserving those field times so that you can get an idea to map that out so that you can start filling those out. NCJLA scheduling meeting, going to have regional meetings between January 17th and the 21st. So each region is going to kind of decide what date they want to target to have those meetings, and then a league-wide scheduling meeting on January 22nd. And as stated, this is optional. So if your program has decided you want to stay regional and you've got all your games to cover that region, that's fine. If you want to open it up and play teams from other regions, then that league-wide scheduling meeting is probably pretty beneficial for you to get in and get some games scheduled. Okay, next slide.
So we have a certified coaches program, and this year, just like the last year, I believe maybe even the last 2 seasons, we have had reduction of our coach requirements. So for the 2022 season, we have the requirement of a USA Lacrosse membership, which goes hand in hand with the USA Lacrosse, cleared background check and the abuse prevention coach certification, or if you've already done it, a recertification. All of those, the second 2 bullet points are tied into the USA Lacrosse membership, and you won't actually have your membership until the second 2 bullet points are completed. You have to go yourself into the e-learning portal in USA Lacrosse to access the abuse prevention coach certification course, you will get an email notification stating that you still need to take it until you've taken it, which is very helpful. So USA Lacrosse does a really good job of keeping you on track. And I think they give you kind of like a deadline to get it done. But it's a pretty simple, streamlined process. The last two that you need on top of just the USA Lacrosse membership are your signed code of conduct and a COVID waiver, and the concussion certification, which is through either CDC or I think another organization. And it's not very long, the concussion course. So it's much more quick and easy to get certified to be a coach. We do not have a late fee for coaches recruited after the deadline, and we have the complete certification. You can complete your certification on the NCJLA website. There's no more need to collect documents from coaches, so that is new and improved starting this year.
Okay, so some deadlines associated. Coaching certification is due to the NCJLA. We've got the following due dates set up here with A and high school divisions, second Saturday in February, 14 and 12, second Saturday in February, same, and the 10 and the 8s, the first Saturday in March, so giving those younger divisions a little bit more time to get those coaching certifications turned in. So clubs may send their coaches to the registration module at any time. This is associated with Sports Engine, so and it is up and running and available now. Only NCJLA certified coach with a valid and visible coach's badge may stand with the team and the coach during an NCJLA game. Digital copy is also acceptable. So to note, that rule is standard, hasn't really changed much about needing to have your coaches certified in order to be able to be on the bench with your players. We do have the ability to add a bench volunteer parent. So that's kind of a nice add-on where a certification is required, but you can also just go through the coaching certification registration module with Sports Engine, and you can have up to 4 coaches per team that are allowed on that sideline. So the whole process into getting your people on board to coach and certified, there was an effort taken to really remove some of the obstacles, because we know a lot of programs had difficulty bringing in people that didn't have previous experience, and there's all this training they had to do. So there were definitely steps taken forth to try and make it easier on clubs to bring those coaches on the sideline and also get help for those coaches, even though you may have somebody who might not want to coach, but just volunteer to do whatever you need them to do. So we have a spot for them now with this bench volunteer. So I think there's been some pretty measurable changes made to make it easier for clubs to get somebody on the sideline and still be certified properly. Okay.
So we don't have these as requirements anymore. We never had all of these as requirements, but we had some of them. But they are still available. So coaches training and education opportunities, these are free or low cost virtual courses. The NFHS rules test, the USA Lacrosse age level rules test, the USA Lacrosse coaches education clinics, level 1, 2, and 3. They're all up. They all have in-person and virtual options. The USA Lacrosse boys game how to make contact course, highly recommended for all coaches of boys. The Red Cross first aid and CPR course, also extremely important to have someone in your organization that has that training. It's not mandatory. PCA double goal coach course is extremely helpful to teach coaches how to keep the positive vibes going on the sidelines and during practices. And USA Lacrosse Cultural Competency course is excellent. I highly recommend that you check it out and share that course if your club doesn't know about it already. I found it just to be fantastic. risetowin.org coaches leadership courses, and the Up to Us Sports coaches training. So we've done some vetting with those organizations, and we find them to be excellent. So they're just optional and for you to take back to your club if you decide to. We wanted to highlight that we are having in-person USA Lacrosse Coaches Clinics on January 29th through the 30th in Oakland and Folsom. So those are the clubs that are hosting them, and we are offering support for them. So please look to be signing up or sharing that information with your coaches, especially any new coaches coming in to take the level 1 and any returning coaches that haven't yet taken level 2. They're very good, and they're I think 3 to 4 hours of time is all you have to do, and I wouldn't be surprised if you're able to do both in the same weekend this year, if you wanted to do both. But I was going to also say that there will be discount codes coming, so we will let you know when we have those, but that's going to reduce the cost to the NCGLA coaches to sign up for those in-person coaches clinics.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about team strength scores and their value and how to get them. So as you go through the registration process, trying to figure out where your team is going to fit, we've got a couple tools for you to use to try and figure it out. Some of you may have a great feel of, yeah, we've competed at this level last year. It seems appropriate for us this year, and that's fine. There may be some teams where it may be a little bit trickier to assess. So if you go to the NCJLA website, you can access the team strength score documentation. And what this does is it just gives you a checklist to go down and evaluate the team that, as you go through and assess, the skill level and lax IQ and things like that. So you'll come up with a score that's associated with that checklist. And then you'll review the areas where if you score, between this range, you may want to consider it being registering as a veteran team or an A-level team. And so this is just a tool to kind of help get a grasp of where your team should be registered. Now, of course, I think everybody knows that registering teams is not a perfect science. And, everybody knows that for the most part, I think the whole organization does a pretty good job, but sometimes year to year, some teams fail in that department. So, if you feel like you're not getting a good idea of where your team is going to fit, I highly recommend reaching out to those programs around you, discuss kind of where they're at, and maybe compare notes. Also, bringing in an independent evaluator is often a good opportunity to kind of get a different set of eyes. And especially if they have any familiarity with any other programs, and kind of give you an idea of where the team ranks. So a couple different things you can do, and obviously this is one of those things that you want to try and get right the first time around. So please consult those tools. Please consult other people in your region with other programs, just to see if you can get a really good idea of where your team's going to rank and where you should register them.
So team registration is open now, and it does close on January 8th. What clubs are asking staff now is, what is everybody else doing for 2022? And we don't really know either, but we have some advice. We suggest that you ask yourself, what teams do you want to field? What teams do I want to field this season? I used to be a girls director for a club, and I knew I always wanted to field at least one team at each level, and two if I could. So I had a goal of what I wanted to do based on last year's numbers and what I felt like I could do with recruiting. So I would suggest that you go with that. Register now for what your club wants to do, what is best for your club, for your growth, and set goals. So what's good is we are flexible. So you just let us know what you need, and it's easy to adjust your registrations between now and January 8th, or even after if need be. Because you can change your team size. You can register for either a full-size team or a small-sided team at pretty much any level. Even if you're not sure right now, it's okay. Just register a team. You can change your team sizes anytime before registration closes. You could add more teams anytime before registration closes, and you can withdraw teams anytime registration before registration closes. You can even let us know if you need to add teams after the registration close date. That's what we're trying to show you, is that we are flexible to your needs. We do want to know who is looking to field teams, at least sooner the better. I think that's the main message, is even though it closes January 8th, the sooner we know how many teams are looking to add to the league for the 2022 season, it helps us plan. So just reach out and let us know if you have questions or if you need anything pertaining to registering teams for the 2022 season.
So some additional items to include with your team registration is, the team division, the team strength score, the name, and if there's a significant change in the team naming convention, things like that, it's always good to kind of call that out. Otherwise, year in, year out, teams typically stick to the same team names. But if you're going in another direction, please call those things out. Registrar's name, and contact information, the game scheduler's name and contact info. And if they're the same person, please make sure you've identified that you just didn't overlook one or the other. Overall strength score, the age range of the players, that's also helpful with when it comes to high school players, especially. Experience level of the players, again, just trying to hit the mark and get teams registered in the right spots so that there's a right level of play that exists week in, week out, the best as we can. The experience level of coach, that makes a difference as well. Identify coaches and schedulers if known. If not, it's okay. We understand that sometimes you put together a team, you may not have that information yet, and that's fine. And then what format do you believe you'll be playing, whether it's full-sided, small-sided, or maybe even both? So those are all important details to include in the team registration process.
So submitting age petitions is something that we like to provide a lot of guidance with, just understanding what petitions are, first of all, which is that if you have a player, for whatever reason you want them to play down from their age group, so down an age level, then there needs to be a petition submitted through a form. So we have the form up on the NCJLA website for you to submit, and they're open from now until the season ends. Petitions can be submitted by the club president or delegate, not by parents or coaches. The petitions are reviewed by the board, and they are reviewed bi-weekly, and the communication is shortly thereafter of if the petition is approved or not. There also might be more questions that come from the board before they make a decision. If you have any questions at all about petitions, those should go directly to Executive Director, which is Laura Jennings. The common questions that we get about petitions, we have those questions here with the answers, so we'll just review those pretty quickly. Can a ninth grader play 14U? Yes, because we are age-based, not grade-based. So if a 14U eligible age player, it happens to be in the ninth grade, we don't mind, we don't care. Do ninth graders who are eligible for 14U age eligible need a liability waiver? No, they do not, because they are 14U age eligible. So it doesn't matter what grade they're in. Can a club register a grade pure team? Yes, of course. It doesn't matter if they are all in one grade or if they're a combination of two grades. So typically, kids are in a age level, let's say 14U, they're typically 7th and 8th graders, a mixture of. And if you would like to have two 14U teams, you could have one 14U, that's all of your 8th graders, and one 14U, that's all of your 7th graders. That's up to you. You can also have two teams and have an A team and a B team, or a B veteran and a B rookie. It's really all up to you. Do 7th or 8th graders need a liability waiver to play on a high school team? Yes, they do. Can a CIF player play for the NCJLA where they are eligible? No. Can only play for CIF or NCJLA, not both. Can only play, sorry. Can only play for one or the other. So those are the main ones.
Okay. So before you go into entering these petitions, make sure you have the following information. If you got the player's birth date, the number of years they've been playing, the position, the grade, the height, and the weight, and the reasons for the request, typically 100 words or less. Sometimes it's pretty obvious while you're doing it, but that information is all relevant when it comes to getting any type of petition approval. So please go into it with that. That way you don't have to hear anybody coming back to you and saying, oh, we need this additional information in order to be able to process it.
So these are our November Club admin action items. So this week, between the 5th and the 11th, the USA Lacrosse Celebrate Lacrosse Week and social media posts for clubs to use. So we are taking care of that all this week. This weekend, I believe, are Celebrate Lacrosse clinics all over the country, and we have a couple of clubs hosting those. So it's a good opportunity to let everybody know about lacrosse. There is social media posted, I believe, on our Facebook page already about the USA Celebrate Lacrosse Week. But if you guys have any questions at the end of this meeting about that week, you can let us know. Ongoing, we are collecting age eligibility petitions. They're due by the 10th of the month, starting this month. All through November, the Boys and Girls Rules Committee are meeting. The second week of December, schedulers training sessions. Ongoing, review your players' registration and confirm that COVID-19 waivers, concussion waivers, and codes of conduct forms are included. Also, complete club player registration link. This is a very helpful link that will give you the opportunity to send us your player registration link so that we can share it on social media to get more people to register to play lacrosse for your club. So I highly recommend you to look at that link, and if you haven't already, send it to us. We want you to have your parents check their child's chest protector to see if it meets the ND200 standard. We also would like you to update your club administrator profile to make sure that we have all of your current contact information for all of your connections that we need to make with you, so your club president and your board members, basically. December 11th, that's when the scholarship applications close. So if you are interested in team or player or special scholarships, please get those in between now and December 11th.
Okay, so these are some important links you want to make sure that you're grabbing at some point. So we've got the NCJLA master calendar. Please get that downloaded. That way you stay in the know what's happening. You stay abreast of all the important due dates and action items that you'll need to stay on top of in order for your club not to miss anything. We also have the U.S. Lacrosse Abuse Prevention FAQ page. This is also, again, an extremely important piece of information that needs to be distributed throughout the community, and you can link to it here. And the NCJLA Operations Guide. This is our Bible. So every year there are changes made to the Ops Guide. So I highly recommend, again, at least one person, if not many, go through the Ops Guide, get familiar with the changes, a lot of the processes and procedures. If you're new to a club or an organization, highly recommend you go through that. Chances are the majority of the questions you're going to have, there's going to be answers in the Ops Guide. And we try and convey it in a short and concise way where we're not trying to bore anybody to tears, but sometimes some of the reading is a bit dry, but there's a lot of information that's contained within it. And so I really do encourage you to go through those ops guides, break it up into chunks if you need to, because there's a lot of really good information, and there are things that change every year, and those items are highlighted as you go through the ops guide. So It's really not that scary of a task, but please go through the ops guide and pass it around to those within your organization. Okay. Right. So with that, we do want to thank everybody for your participation here tonight and signing on. We do want to open it up to any questions that you guys might have about anything that we've covered or anything else that we may not have covered. So we'll open it up to the crew here. No?
I did have a question earlier about will we be posting a recording? Are we posting this or sharing this? And I said yes, we will be posting a recording and a PDF, and we will also be sharing that, but we do need to make sure all of the club profiles are updated with your admin's contact, and that's how we get it out there. We don't send them individually. We send them to like a mass email.
Okay. Anything else before we wrap it up for the evening? No? Okay. Well, Mark?
Nope, I was gonna say thanks, guys.
Oh, hey, our pleasure. We really do appreciate you guys taking the time out tonight. Again, please pass this information on, any links associated, the videos, all this good stuff, really relevant for this time of year. Helps make the season a little easier. So again, thank you guys for your time tonight, and we look forward to seeing you in December.
Thank you very much.
Thanks,
Very
everybody.
informative. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.